the marathon boy. The wish I never made it the champion boy. Nah man, I don't a songsters boy. Red Stripe Premier League champion boy.
We're into the final month of the year. It's December. The teams are getting ready. The goalkeeper's in fine nick. The fans are getting themselves tuned up for Red Stripe Football Mondays. It's Arnett Gardens, 5-time champions, up against Mount Pleasant FC, two teams that reached the playoffs last year, and at the moment, top three in the island at the moment. We're expecting a big game at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex tonight. Arnett Gardens looking to follow up on a big win they had midweek over UWI, and Mount Pleasant also had a big win in their last outing. A clash here of teams that have been scoring goals in the past week, George.
Oh yes, it's a good time in the season for these two teams to be meeting again. What is true is that nobody will have pre-season blues to talk about, or players coming back late from pre-season as an excuse for their lack of form. Both teams are running very well right now. The engines are purring over nicely, and it should be a good football game with good conditions to support the play on the field tonight.
Yeah, and as far as competition goes, you couldn't ask for a better head-to-head setup here. 4 meetings between these teams so far. 1 Arnett win, 1 Mount Pleasant win, and 2 drawn results. So they have a lot to play for tonight. And of course, the number 2 spot at stake, because if Arnett wins tonight by 2 clear goals, they will displace Mount Pleasant as a number 2 team.
Absolutely so. And who would have thought that Arnett Gardens' revival would have been so strong under Alex Thomas? Many people feared the worst when Jerome Waite wasn't here, because the fact is that apart from their first title in 1977,
yes,
no title has come when Jerome Waite has not been on the sideline. So they would have been very happy to see how the team has picked up under Alex Thomas, suggesting that they can go all the way, these junglists.
That's right. There were some midweek matches in the past week here. Round 14 it was. Dunbeholden 1-1 with Humberland. Malines United, their poor form continue with a 1-0 loss to Harbourview. Cavalier 6-1 over Vere United. Portmore beaten 4-1 by Waterhouse in a rematch of last year's final. Mount Pleasant 4-0 over Tivoli Gardens. I told you that Mount Pleasant and Arnett have been scoring goals in the past few days. Arnett 4-2 over UWI.
25 goals in those games, Lance, and that's considering that we didn't have one game played because of a referee's issue. There were a lot of goals on Sunday. Usually it means goals on Monday.
Humberland yesterday, this is match day 15, 1-0 over Malines. 9 matches now without a victory, Malines, after winning their first 6 in the season. Dunbeholden coming up with a victory over Portmore United, beating Portmore for the 2nd time this season, and Dunbeholden doing well. They have won 3 of their last 4 matches. Dunbeholden, the Tivoli Waterhouse game postponed, no goals between Vere and UWI. Cavalier getting a 2-1 victory over Harbourview. 8 goals in their last 2 matches, Cavalier, so they've got their shooting boots on as well. And Arnett and Mount Pleasant getting ready to give us some goals tonight.
And there I was getting ahead of myself. Those 25 goals were the midweek results, and there were 7 on Sunday. Still, goals on Sunday equals goals on Monday.
Yeah, goals certainly in the past week if you combine the 2 match days together. Waterhouse out front by 8 points, George, and looking to be flying like a racehorse in a 5-furlong sprint, dancing away from the field.
Absolutely. So you pointed out during the zone league that between 3rd and 9th there's nothing much in it. Arnett in 3rd on 22 points, Portmore in 9th position on 18 points, 3 points separating them. It's a bang up thing when you talk about the middle of the table, and those playoff places, men will be fighting for them like water in a desert, Lance. I can tell you it's going to be a real keen contest for the positions 3 through 6 in this table at whatever stage you take the snapshot.
Yeah, as I said, the head-to-head between these two teams, not much to go on here. Mount Pleasant 2-2 with Arnett Gardens back in the first round in September. Earlier on this year, Mount Pleasant 1-0 over Arnett Gardens as they were heading into the playoffs, and there was a 0-0 draw last December between Mount Pleasant and Arnett Gardens. What you're not seeing there was the earlier match last year when Arnett actually got a victory over Mount Pleasant. So the last 4 times these two teams have met, 1 Arnett win, 1 Mount Pleasant win, and 2 drawn results.
Yes, indeed. Look, the first game between these two teams from all accounts was a very good game. It took a very special goal to get Mount Pleasant a share of the points. I said I'm very happy with the form both teams are coming into this game with, because both teams are flowing really nicely now on both ends. Attacking wise, Arnett are flowing. Defensively, Mount Pleasant are clicking. On the offensive end, Mount Pleasant has been finding the goals which will support their attacking play and giving them victories, while Arnett's defense hasn't always been their forte, because they really don't set out to shut out teams. It's just to outscore teams. I'm expecting a good game tonight when the attacking thrust of Arnett clashes with Mount Pleasant's defensive solidity.
Yeah, that's right. Arnett looking for a victory here at home, a place that has been a fortress for them, but not so much so this season. They've got to find the right balance between attack and defense. Last week, Monday night, it went wrong for them against Tivoli.
The midfield was too easy to play against Tivoli Lands, and that's why they came out on the wrong end of that 3-1 score with greater coordination in midfield, and most of all, that D-word, discipline. Arnett Gardens can take something from this game, but they're going to have to be switched on right throughout, these midfield boys for Alex Thomas's team.
Yes, so Arnett Gardens looking to get their form going here and to build on the 4-2 victory that they had over UWI midweek, and against the Mount Pleasant team that is coming in with a pretty solid starting roster tonight. They've got to be strong, Arnett, because Mount Pleasant are coming here to win.
They had the defensive solidity under Donovan Duki, but what they didn't have was the cutting edge up front. There are signs that this talented attacking unit for Mount Pleasant is starting to earn its corn. The boys in the attacking unit are picking up the slack, complementing what the defense have done for Mount Pleasant since coming to this top flight, and if that continues, they could very well take 3 points tonight, because they're so very difficult to break down to score against Paul Teagat Davis's team.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing Jordan Fletcher in action tonight, George. We remember the 2016 schoolboy season, champion for Cromwell College in the Acosta Cup, 30 plus goals, a lot thought of him, but
ECT. India, the West Indies, and then some basketball action, of course. The Mavericks and the Pelicans, Saturday 2 p.m., 3 p.m. if you're outside of Jamaica. That's on Sportsmax. And another one, the Nets and the Nuggets, the Informed Nuggets. Sportsmax, your destination again, Sunday 3 p.m., 4 p.m. in the Eastern Caribbean.
There's schoolboy football coming up. The Olivia Shield, the Clarendon College champions of the Acosta Cup, up against the Manning Cup champions, Jamaica College. Always one to look out for. 5:30, 6:30 Eastern Caribbean time. That will be on Sportsmax on Saturday. Can't miss it.
I wonder where we're going for RSPL. Oh, we're going to Stadium East for Cavalier against Humberland. Haven't done a Humberland game so far this season. We have seen Cavalier at Waterhouse, and it takes us to Stadium East Monday 7:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. Sportsmax to your destination next week, Monday.
Yeah, we'll be looking out for that one, because Cavalier have been getting a lot of goals in recent times. They have scored 8 goals in the last 2 matches they've played, and Humberland, along with Mount Pleasant, the best defensive record in the league at the moment. So that's going to be a tough one.
And I did point you that Rudolph Speed told me when I went to watch these teams in the first round at Stadium East that they wouldn't have hit peak fitness until 3-4 weeks deep into the season. I think they're at peak fitness now, Cavalier.
Getting ready for match time here, and the Arnett Gardens team tuning themselves up. There's the Mount Pleasant team also getting ready. There's Ladale Ritchie, national defender and solid player for the Mount Pleasant team. Vishnal Harris, outstanding, gets a starting position tonight, George, and every time Vishnal Harris is in the starting roster for the Arnett Gardens team, you expect a lot of fireworks from midfield. Getting closer to match time. We'll be back with more. here at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex on a night that the fans at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex are hoping that they will not see what they saw last week Monday night, which was a defeat at the hands of arch rivals Tivoli Gardens. Arnett, 5-time champions of the Premier League, as we said, twice in the last 5 years, 2015 and 2017, their first title coming all the way back in 1978. And they finished in the playoff spots last year, but first stop in the playoffs, they were knocked out in the quarter-final stage.
Yeah, this is young Rodriguez. Hasn't really impressed me at all. His handling is a little bit dodgy, and he seems to get distracted in games, as we saw in that match against Dunbeholden when he was complaining about an infringement rather than keeping his eyes focused, and the ball passed him for a Dunbeholden goal. He still has to convince me, but guess what? He's young. He has experience at the schoolboy football level. He's in a good unit with players who know this league inside out. He can only be guided the right way. Let's see if Shadim Rodriguez has the wherewithal to benefit from the experience that will be shared with him. Not so for this man, vastly experienced, the most prolific goal scorer in the Premier League over the last 3 seasons, not named the Javon East. Excellent with his back to goal, brings other players into the attacking unit very, very well, can find the back of the net. He is a credit to Arnett Gardens and a credit to the RSPL.
Alex Thomas is in charge of the Arnett Gardens team at the moment.
Alex, a disappointing result the last time you played here at home, but you followed that up with a good victory away. What mood is the team in tonight?
The spirit is very high, and we understand the task ahead tonight. It's going to be a tough one, but we're ready and we're prepared. We plan for this one, coming off a victory against UWI, so the confidence level is up,
In terms of the defensive play and the contribution of the midfielders on the defensive end, that wasn't so good against Tivoli. How did you correct that in midweek, and what's the plan to continue that improvement tonight?
Against Tivoli it wasn't that good, and we corrected it against UWI. The main thing is to stay organized, stay organized for the entire game, and stay compact and stay organized as a team, and both defensively and attacking.
It's a contrast of games we have to compare, because against Tivoli, the offense created chances but scored 1 goal. Against UWI, you had a sizable contribution from them. What is the reason for the inconsistency up front, you believe?
The main thing is that we have to concentrate, keep our concentration level up. We always fell down in the 78th minute, but we're fixing it, game in game, training by training, we're fixing it, and we're getting better each game.
Fabian Reid, as we noted, has sparked the attack to life. He had an off night against Tivoli. I guess he had a better game against UWI. But as an attacking unit, all of the boys who are part of the attacking unit, how do you rate their overall contribution so far?
Overall contribution is very good, and we are not. I know these boys, like at game times, we will score, but it's to protect the back end of the field, the defensive side. But we're ready. This game going to be a tough one. I know we're going to score goals tonight.
Mount Pleasant, tough team. They're very good defensively, which is why I spent so many of the questions asking about offense. As you prepare for them tonight and prepare to breach their defense, any tactical changes that you've introduced to try to get that job done?
Not really no tactical change, but we have our game plan to go against them. We come off. The last game we played was a 2-2 draw, and they score a quality goal to get that equalizer. But it's going to be a tough one tonight, but we're ready and we're going to work for that one to get the 3 points tonight.
Mount Pleasant travelling all the way from St. Anne to tackle the Junglists tonight. Pretty new team, only founded in 2016. They were semi-finalists last year in their debut season in the top flight, and looking to have some glory tonight under the guidance of coach Paul Teague Davis.
Yeah, Kimara Bushy-Beckford, formerly of Waterhouse fame, has not hit his Waterhouse heights in a Mount Pleasant uniform, but still very, very dangerous, has a hammer of a left foot, good dribbler. I don't think he uses the ball well I don't think he passes the ball as well as a frontman should be able to do in a team such as Mount Pleasant, and he's inconsistent at the best of times, but at his best, he's an unstoppable player. Jordan Fletcher, we spoke about him. Cornell College schoolboy who has found the going a little bit tough at the top level, but I suspect he has seen and done enough to convince him that he can be a star at this level, Jordan Fletcher. He needs consistency, but his quality, his back class, not in question, this youngster.
Yeah, has scored some wonder goals so far this season, and Paul Teagat Davis in charge of this Mount Pleasant team, expecting a lot this year.
Arnett Garns are informed, Teagat. What plan do you have to foil their attacking threat tonight?
We have to learn to monitor the game tonight, as I said before, they're in form. With the Fabian Reed and Malcolm coming in, they're scoring a lot of goals, but we are scoring goals, but coming here, it's not going to be easy. We have to learn to monitor the game tonight, step by step, and if we can do that, yes, we can come up with a point out of the 3 points.
What's the secret to your defensive solidity this season?
The secret is we play as a team, we defend as a team, we attack as a team.
In terms of the attacking, and you say that you have been scoring goals. I'm sure it's not as many as you would have liked. What is it that your offensive players need to do in game to get even better results?
Sometimes not what you like, but when you get that 1 or 2 chances, if you take them and win the game, it's good, But you say every 5 minutes we have to get chances. If we can take that chance in the 5 minutes, it's good,
In terms of the expectation on the team, it was high last year. In terms of crowd support, you don't carry the crowd as you did last season. What is it that has caused this seeming fall off in support, especially when you play away?
I don't say really fall, but football is like that, When you're on a high, you get the crowd. So you're going to take gradually, we just win games, then the fan base will build up.
Do you get the impression that the teams entertaining Mount Pleasant, that there's some fear, there's some trepidation, given that they know they're playing a quality unit? And is this to your advantage, you think?
Not really, I think it's a level playing ground. I don't see no team really, regards to the Waterhouse now. Yes, I think one of the better team, and they're in form, but I don't, it's a level playing ground,
Time also on Sports Max. Lots of schoolboy football coming up as well on Saturday, the climax of the season. In fact, Clarendon College, the Costa Cup champions, up against the Jamaica College team, who are the Manning Cup champions.
Work is burning in the fields indeed. Cavalier and Humberland clash in the RSPL on Sports Max 2 next Monday, 7:30 p.m. in Jamaica, 8:30 p.m. for our friends in the Eastern Caribbean.
Just didn't have
Tivoli defender to electrify the crowd. Look at this piece of play. I'm gone.
Tivoli Gardens defeating Arnett by 3-1 and get their first victory in over 5.
Just didn't have any mustard on them.
What a goal! What a goal! Kaheem Harris strikes his first goal number 2 team here at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex. Red Stripe Football Mondays here, heading into the final month of the year. And as we have done in recent weeks, we get the fans who are analysts. There's Theodore Tapper Whitmore, former national midfielder and standout, and current national coach, having a look at these 2 teams here tonight who have several players with national level ability. And there's Mark Golding as well, current chairman and the former chairman of the Arnett Gardens Football Club. And there's the Jamaica under 23 squad, I think that would be. There's Jamoy Topi and a couple of other players as well. So let's hear from the fans who are analysts, the finalists, pre-game.
Yeah, Christopher Fleming support Arnett around 15 years now. Marco Black busting it tonight. Malcolm, Two Love, straight Arnett.
My name is Carlington Price, and I'm from Senton, and I've been supporting Mount Pleasant since last year. And tonight is going to be a very exciting game, and I'm sure we're going to come out victorious. The score is going to be 3-1. You understand? Mount Pleasant, look out for Fletcher, look out for Bembo, look out for the entire team. We're going to come out victorious tonight, right? Because 2 short away from Senton. See there? See there?
Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant all the way.
Victory, we say Arnett, for life, for life.
You understand? That's what a man said, George. You understand? From Mount Pleasant.
The Arnett Gardens fan was so downbeat. Our producer had to give him a little remix to make him sound lively. The Mount Pleasant man seems very confident, though.
Yeah, he does. Well, he has traveled a long way, so he would want his team to deliver for him tonight. The Arnett crowd not as huge as we have seen it over the years, and I think there have been some tightening at the gates, George, paying to come in, and I think that has affected the turnout here for the Arnett fans.
Oh yes, new management, new strategy, the gate not accommodating to those who turned up and expected to be let in just because they're supporters for a long time.
In the past 24 hours, we've had refereeing issues negatively affecting the Red Stripe Premier League here. Here's Weston Costley, the man with the whistle tonight, leading his team out. He was assigned to the match between Waterhouse and Tivoli yesterday that ended up being postponed because the officials were late and were not there when they should have been.
Yeah, it's an issue that needs to be ironed out in the coming days. We can't have the referees not being paid, and then as a consequence we can't have industrial action just like that. It doesn't look good for a brand and for a sport that needs only positive news, needs only positive undertakings to continue the upward trajectory.
Yeah, the referees boss Victor Stewart saying that there was some miscommunication issues because the officials, we're told, were actually on their way but got there about 10 minutes late, and because there were no lights there at the Edward Seaga Sports Complex, it was felt that they could not start the match beyond a certain time, and the match was called off. The national anthem coming up, Mount Pleasant in blue, Arnett Gardens in their traditional red and black. And they're getting ready for what we expect to be a very, very, very hot game tonight, as we said. Both